Greetings, Laker fans. Welcome to the Purple Blood Lakers podcast, the final podcast of the 2024-25 season. We've been off the air for quite a while. I think we came back on maybe two or three times since the Luka trade, and maybe not. I don't even remember, but it's been a while. Donna, who's always right, has just gotten so busy, and we've never been able to sync up, and that's same also true today. And so I decided to come on solo and let you guys know at least how I feel about where we are with the season and talk about the future a little bit. Probably will generate a little controversy with some of my comments as usual because I don't have Donna, who's always right, to keep me balanced and grounded and focused on reality. So this should be a little wild. Um, I want to talk about first the Lakers season. And we can talk about the season in terms of change mostly. Um, like we started the year with LeBron and AD, and the best pieces we could fit around them. With Austin and Rui both, I think, advancing a bit, maybe more so Austin, but Rui also, I think, stepped forward from last season. But still, in my opinion, has a ways to go before we could consider him a championship piece. But we started the year with that hope in terms of development. We didn't make many moves in the offseason. We got to a point where we knew we needed to make some moves, and I think the D'Angelo Russell trade that landed us Dodo was excellent. An excellent move. Roster rebalancing, defensive presence. Um, and we got a little better, and then Vandal came back, and we got a little better, and our defense got really good. And then we traded AD for Luka, and shockingly, and you have to give our coaching staff credit, our defense didn't suffer. Um, that was amazing to watch, and I give credit to one of our guards in particular. Gabe Vincent plays so much larger than he is on the defensive end. Gabe can actually get his body into a big, get his arms up and hold his position and stop a big from taking advantage of our small ball, kind of single-handedly sometimes. And I watched that over and over again, and I decided to acknowledge it in the show. Good job, Gabe Vincent. I didn't like him when he first came back. I expected really big things from him after watching him in that Miami playoff series, but the way we started the year, it didn't feel great, but then he rounded into shape, and I don't think he ever faltered once he got into playing shape and into his form. I think his shot saved us, his defense saved us, and I think Gabe Vincent deserves a lot of credit for us playing defense with a tremendous handicap having lost our best defensive player. Um, I like the way Dave stepped up. So Gabe stepped up. So kudos to Gabe, and a little bit of points to Rob for seeing, and especially JJ for sticking with Gabe through thick and thin. When I was complaining about Gabe, Rob was still playing him as though he were, doing what he did towards the end of the season, and you got to give Rob Pelinka credit for sticking to his guns. One thing about Rob is, and this is probably going to end up being a hindrance to his growth as a coach. He's stubborn as hell. And so he's going to stick to his guns no matter what. And that no matter what part doesn't work in the modern NBA, in my opinion. But we'll see. He's arrogantly full of self-belief. Um, and that's what it takes to be great. LeBron doesn't, wake up every morning and wonder if he's good enough. So uh, we'll come back to Rob in terms of evaluating him for the year. But that was a really good move to stick with Gabe. Um, so with regard to the year, when we played such great defense to end the year, you kind of had a really good feeling. We got the number three seed. The number three seed after all we had been through. The number three seed, are you kidding me? We had a tough schedule to end the year. and we won the games that we needed to win. After losing some games we absolutely should have won. This year we lost to Toronto early in the year. We lost to Detroit at the midpoint. We lost to I can't think of all the bad teams. We lost games that we should have won to. But to end up with the number three seed says that we beat good teams, and it made you walk into the playoffs with a really good feeling about the team. And didn't work out for us. And I think that maybe if I look back at the season, I might find some things in those closing games that would suggest how bad we were in the playoffs. You know, all the games were close, but perhaps they shouldn't have been. Um, But in any event, to end up with the number three seed, you have to credit the team. You have to credit LeBron for being able to adapt to Luka's presence. You have to credit the coach for being able to play small ball defense better than we played when AT was here. To be honest with you, our defense just looks stellar sometimes. Uh, I don't like giving Rondo, Vandy any credit at all. I'm sick of bricks and missed layups and passes straight out of bounds. Sometimes we put him in that high post when Luka was getting double teamed. We have to throw that ball to the high post to set up plays for backdoor cutters and or just a nice little shot from the free throw line. Um, Austin looks good in that position. But Vando looked horrible, especially in the playoffs. But his defensive energy, this is what I said about him. To me, he plays like a guy that um, is thinking about how he looks to the coach. He runs around a lot. He desperately wants the ball. So I'm not saying that he's faking like he's running around. It's just is all of the energy that he expends um, strategically valuable. And from a coach's perspective, it is because he does get the rest of the team involved on the defensive end just by looking at his energy. You got to dive on the floor and get that ball too. Um, but thinking back on Doug Christie's defensive presence, if I had to choose minutes, I would take the guy that can shoot the three and lock down somebody, as opposed to the guy that looks perfect from a team defense coach's dream perspective. Um, so I think we're stuck with Vando because of his offensive liabilities. And to me, that's a over 10 million, 12, 13. I don't know how much he makes, but it's too much for a guy that really maybe he can hit the three from the corner every now and then, but he's not a reliable offensive presence, and I'm kind of tired of it. Um, okay, so to finish off the discussion about the season, you cannot hate on the season that the Lakers had. If you're a Laker fan, you had a good time watching this team play this year. Um, and we played competitive basketball. There were times when we gave up, especially earlier in the year. I feel like that's been a part of the Bron AD era. This idea of sometimes we just get our butts whipped and we just got nothing. And I think there are days when you show up to work at 39, 40 years old, which for me, for the work I do would be like showing up 75, 80 years old, and sometimes just not being able to think my way through a paper bag. It happens to me now. Sometimes I just can't get my mind into the game, and my work suffers. And so I'm not mad at Bron. I just think as Laker fans, we've been unrealistic about what we can expect from a 40-year-old basketball player. And that's because he's forcing us to uh, have unrealistic expectations because he has unrealistic games, unrealistic averages, unrealistic presence on the court. He is a phenomenon. And it's been fun having him in LA in terms of watching all the late stage greatness. But I think his liabilities are catching up to us. And with Luca on the team, we really have some important decisions to make. So um, That brings us up to the playoff loss. I was going to cover it in detail and talk about what was missing, but the fact is the games were relatively close, and I think the problem was the fourth quarter. In the NBA, we keep watching fourth quarter battles. Fourth quarter battles are between Halliburton and Donovan, and now Donovan's hurt. So look what's going on. They're between Jalen and okay, how does this work? What's this guy's name? And is he another Jalen? Anyway, the guy in New York, point guard, what's his name? I wish Don was here. Um, but y'all know who I'm talking about. He takes over the game in the fourth quarter. He says, "No, I'm not trying to take over. I'm just kind of playing ball." And he's taking over the game in the fourth quarter. And the rest of the team sets themselves up to support his outburst. And Boston did the same thing with Jason Tatum until he got hurt. I'm a Lakers fan, which makes me a Boston hater. If you look at my background, you see Paris trying to guard Kareem Abdul, but you can't, bro, because you're not as good as him. Um, but as a basketball fan, any injury is disturbing, especially a serious one. And it looks like he tweaked his leg pretty badly. I'm not sure exactly where. It's pretty not obvious at this point that what happened. But he certainly seemed to have planted that foot, and therefore, the tension goes all the way up the leg. So what gave ankle, knee, who knows? But it certainly looks like he's going to be out for a while. Um, and so the Lakers have not had a fourth quarter alpha dog uh, in the LeBron era. LeBron will shoot threes in the fourth quarter and fadeaways, but all that energy to the hoop that happens in the first half, and it slows down in the third quarter. And this has been consistent now. And so I guess we're now dependent on Luka in the fourth quarter. But the fourth quarter requires conditioning. I'm just going to leave silence to let that sink in for a bit. You have to be in shape to play 4 quarters of competitive basketball in the National Basketball Association. And so in the fourth quarter in the playoffs, we watched Luka get his shot blocked twice, I think in 1 quarter. That same step back that he's been getting away with in the regular season, where it's just all really slow, and he's just like, I'm so big that when I pull back, it's nothing you can do. Well, a 6'9" or 10 guy with a 7'4" wingspan named Jalen or Jason or Jaden, last name optional, will get to that, and now knows they can get to that. And so we need some better options in the fourth quarter. Um, Team offense goes out the window in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. Um, Watching Jimmy Butler last night take 9 shots, 4 in the decisive third quarter after taking a 4-minute break at the end of the first half when his team was down 5, to have his team end up by 2 while he's sitting the bench to get rest so that he can go nuts in the third quarter and put this game away. He came in and took 4 shots. He's passing the ball so fast. You know, you don't you. I'd have to look at his time of possession. What's his usage rate with Steph out? Um, so Jimmy Butler, you've been here too many times. You were the one that was leaning against the basket lower area, thoroughly exhausted against the Lakers in 2020 while we were winning the championship. You get credit for bringing nothing to the finals. And I'm kind of disrespecting Tyler Hero, but he wasn't that hero in 2020. He wasn't even starting, I don't think. I think they were still starting the guy that's riding the bench now that can still shoot 40%, but just yeah. So um Bam and Jimmy plus who knows, some shooter that they got in the alley. Miami, they they find and groom talent from nothing and somehow fight through that Eastern Conference to get to the finals. But then they want Jimmy to push them through to a ring in the fourth quarter. And he was never able to do it. And so Pat Riley said, okay, no more chances. And it was time to move on. And now he's in Golden State with a true alpha dog. And he seems very happy being a beta until Steph goes down when it's time for you, as I think one commentator said, time to take your Robin cape off and put your Batman cape on. And man, what a letdown. Um, I don't know what he was thinking, but I really like Jimmy Butler. I think he is a competitor. I think anybody gets tired in the fourth quarter in a playoff game. So I'm not hating on him. And because of the what he had around him in Miami, I'm gonna give him a pass on those. I'm gonna give him credit for getting to the finals, and I'm gonna give him a pass for not winning it. Um, but in Golden State, I think things are different. Expectations are different. The team around him is different, and I expected to see more. So maybe he's in the beginning of his decline, or maybe even middle, and maybe Pat Riley was right. But the point I'm making is when you don't have an alpha dog going nuts in the fourth quarter, you're not winning in this NBA today. Witness Houston, who has an awesome alpha dog who just couldn't get it done against double teams and too much pressure. And you know, when NBA coaches have time to scout you for weeks and have game after game after game against you, they're gonna figure out a way to slow you down. And maybe your coach has to help you find lanes. I think Anthony Edwards is an example of a guy that got shut down and somehow is still able to rise up. Um, so all these young players are learning their way through this. So I think Green will be okay. I think he's a dog. And I think we really better be careful of Anthony Edwards this year because that trade made New York better and it made Minneapolis better. And when you first looked at Minneapolis in the regular season, you thought they had really made a big mistake. You give up Cat, what? But they knew some things. They looked at some numbers. They looked at what Cat was doing on the floor with different combos. And it turns out they made a really good decision. If Dante really comes into his own, that dude can shoot it. That dude is a baller and he's a gamer. And he's a dog. All three of the things that I love in a player, I see in Dante. And so if he really comes into his own on that team, look out, league. They got it all. I am a Rudy Gobert hater. I'm a professional hater. Me and Kendrick both from Compton. And I really hate Rudy Gobert. And watching him have the game of his life against my Lakers, who had no center, with Jackson Hayes sitting on the bench playing. I didn't think he didn't play that game at all. I wanted to go back before I did this and look at the game where he played 4 minutes and JJ sat him. I think it had something to do with him talking to the refs. I'm imagining something like this went on. Jackson, you got a chance to stick with us and be a center in this league. But in these playoffs, I got enough guys on my team complaining to the refs. I can't have that from you. You need to get your butt back down there and play defense. And I think one time he got into it with the refs, and I think JJ just decided, okay, that's it. If you can't think your way through this, then JJ needs smart players. And Jackson, I'm not sure about his decision making on the court when your job is to stay close to the rim and hope for a oop. Uh, you know, but that's another form of basketball intelligence to be able to realize the context of the situation and get your emotions out of it. And Jackson's absolutely horrible at that. And I think JJ's done with him. So I don't expect to see him around next year because if he was going to be around next year, he would have played more in the playoffs. Even if we were losing, he would have put him in there just to say, hey, man, let's work on some things that we can get better at next year. But he was like, I'm done with this guy. I think he sent a message to us, the fans. He sent a message to Jackson's agent, and he sent a message to Jeannie and Rob. I'm done with this guy. That's what I heard by his actions. And so probably right. So our playoff loss, embarrassing. Fourth quarter is the issue. And that's what we have to build next year. We have to build a fourth quarter team. Okay. Third thing I want to talk about, of course, is the future. And I'm going to start with a rumor I heard this morning. I'm constantly searching for Laker rumors and, trying to find the corner of the internet stuff that um, just something to give me hope sometimes, but other times, things that might come true. And here's something that better not come true. Rob Pelinka. If you know Rob, if you know Rob's family, if you know people that work for him, call him right now. I'm gonna give you a little while please connect with Rob and have Rob send him a link and have him tune into this while you're watching this video. Oh yeah, he can't come in live. Yeah, well, okay. How can we do this? Hmm. No one's listening right now, so you can't call Rob. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna say it, and what we'll do is we'll mark the time. Right now, do I have it? I should have it. No, I don't. Okay, looking at the clock, I might be about 8 minutes in, 9 minutes in. Mark the time when I say this so that Rob can cut right to it. Rob, are you listening? Ready? If you hire, no, if I see evidence of a received call on the telephone of Ben Simmons, I will fire you, Rob. That is an unforgivable sin. You made it through the Westbrook deal. You clawed your way out of it. Now we got Dodo. Not blaming you 100% for that. I think that was one of those clutch things while we were still in the clutches of clutch. But with AD gone, clutch is diminished. And we better not have that basketball. Try to be respectful. The man is he's a human being, probably has a family. Try not to say things that just he will never be a Laker. I don't care if you can get him for $5.16. He will not take up a roster spot on my Laker bench. End of discussion. I got rid of my season tickets over the Westbrook deal. That takes away some of my leverage. I admit that. I will go to the facility with large signs and a posse of friends to protest your presence, Rob Pelinka. If you do something, and I'm going to be disrespectful, thinking about what might happen, doing that move would make you the stupidest GM in the league. I will not tolerate it. Okay, enough about Ben Simmons. Second, a Bill Simmons, I think, came up with the suggestion that we would take Embiid. Bill, please stop. All the things I said about Ben also apply to Embiid. You can't play center when your knees are gone. You can't play anything. So 20 games out of a broke down center is just dumb. Any players that have injury reputations are invalidated as potential trade options for these Lakers, um, especially after what happened with Mark Williams. That lets me know that you're aware of just how bad it is to have someone sitting on the bench for 40, 50 games. So Zion Williamson, Joel Embiid, no. Hell no. You better not. Okay, done. In terms of the future, I want to see the Lakers go for the win. I don't want to see us getting marginally better. It's time for Pelinka to put his stamp on his team. Now, trading AD for Luka, everybody kind of agrees that that's a no-brainer. It's not quite as much of a no-brainer as you think it is when you consider what we have to do now. Now we have to build a team around Luka. Now, look what they did in Dallas. And I'll tell you how hard this is going to be, okay? Used I think a first round pick for Lively. Uh, Not sure where Stafford came from. Or is that his name? The other center. I don't let me start pulling up the internet. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Gafford, something like that. PJ Washington, amazing find. Deadly from the corner. Defensive specialist. Long, athletic, uh, low turnovers, just beautiful basketball player. Perfect fit for what Luka was building. Uh, Secondary ball handler. Secondary ball handler is the best ball handler in the history of the game. Who got better handles than Kyrie? Pete Maravich? No. Uh, Barry? Hell no. Uh, Iverson? Valid comparison, but more Iverson's kind of like more showboat, more ISO, less perfect handles as usable as an individual or to set up teammates. Just um, basketball savant. And for my money, in terms of how I want to see a player use their handle, Kyrie is at the top of the list. Um, so plus reliable shooter. Um, uh, Decent defender, Kyrie, but certainly not premium, but surrounded by 6'8", well, 6'9", 6'10". Um, Look at their roster. Look at that Dallas roster that they built around Luka Doncic. Everybody's tall. Everybody's athletic. Everybody can shoot better than 39% from three. Everybody. Um, Multiple bigs. Um, they sold out for Luka and they won. They built the team they wanted. And I look at the construction of that roster and I say, this Rico guy did a good job. He did a good job up to that point. Now, then what happened? Well, he looked at we made it to the finals. Great, but why didn't we win it? I think he decided that Luka ran out of gas. I think everything that he built around Luka worked perfectly. And it was all set up for Luka to push you over the top, and Luka, one beer too many in his mind. And so 345 million, I'm going to look in the camera in support of Rico and say, I would have done the same thing. Now, would I have restricted myself to Rob Pelinka? Would I have zeroed in on AD and not giving anyone else in the league a chance to make a bid? Just to Why not? To avoid a circus? To not insult Luka? Well, you insulted him even more. What was the reason for only dealing with the Lakers? Glad we benefited. We have a star that we can go forward with. AD was not going to be that guy. We all knew it. And so no brainer to do this deal for Rob. Rico, it was a risky move. But how far does this history of most favored nation status go back in the NBA? Let's review. Um, the exact same thing happened with Paul Gasol. We got Paul Gasol because our best Laker. See if I can make this work. This dude right here. That dude right there. You see him? Number 44. He went to Memphis and orchestrated a deal where he saw that Paul Gasol was not going to win in Memphis with Mike Conley and made a move. I'm not sure how he convinced them. Maybe they didn't want to spend the money to extend him or something like that. But getting Paul Gasol to the Lakers was the only way, the only pathway for Kobe Bryant to get back to the finals. That was Jerry West's greatest assist as a Laker. It was an inside deal. Um, Now, that's overloading the inside basketball, if you don't mind the whack analogy. Um, Beyond the Lakers, we can look at Boston. How in the hell does Kevin Garnett go to Boston with no one else having a chance to have a say in it? It's because Kevin McHale was the GM of Minnesota at that time. I think he was there long enough to do that deal, and then he was gone. Um, this kind of thing happens all the time. GMs form friendships, they have loyalties to other GMs, to franchises, and insider basketball is a little bit thicker than even inside baseball. So it's not unusual. It's as unusual as it sounds. There's a long history of teams getting advantage in terms of opportunities to get top five players. And it's interesting what's going to happen with Giannis. Um, I don't think Milwaukee has those kinds of buddy relationships, and so this will truly be a sweepstakes. And it will be a combination of where he wants to go and what is available in return, as it should be. In a meritocracy. And so I'm not going to predict where he's going to end up, but there are some really, really interesting possibilities. Um, does AD have a no trade clause? Shh, don't say I said it. I think it was Daniel Gafford is that center. Um, he appears to be out, and one would think that the Lakers would be taking a look at him at least. But are we going to rebuild the same team around Luka? Dodo, Gafford. Can we be creative here? Okay. So speaking of next year, let's talk about Austin and Rui. I'm going to start with Rui because as much as I like Rui, I really love Rui's personality, and I love his game. I love when Rui hits a three and backpedals and smiles at the camera. He's got that dimple. I feel like the team told him, man, every time you make a three, you're going to be on camera, and you need to be grinning. Rui's a good-looking dude, and I love seeing him smile on his way back down court after he hits a shot. So he's got a cool personality, but I told y'all I like ballers, I like dogs, and I like gamers. Kind of all three mean the same thing, but different emphasis. A dog might show up a little bit more on the floor, a little on the defensive end too. A baller shows up every day, is gym rat and just loves basketball. Pritchard is a baller. Uh, I could name some more. Um, and then you have your gamer, and that's your fourth quarter guy. That's your guy that might not have hit a shot all game, but give me the ball in the fourth quarter and watch it go in. And I think probably Kobe was as a guy growing up watching the Lakers, that's probably my prototypical gamer. But there are other guys that tend to step up in big moments. Robert Horry is a gamer. Okay, Robert Horry is probably the gamer. The gamer. How many championships on how many different franchises? What? What are you going to say about Robert Horry? Threw a towel in the face of Danny Ainge and became a Laker and got another chip. And then left and got another chip? Are you out of your mind? No, man. That's a gamer right there. So I don't see Rui as a dog. I've seen him watch rebounds bounce. I don't see Rui as a gamer. He hits the shot, but he doesn't demand the ball. Now, he could become a gamer on another team. He could become all three on a different team. There's not a lot of room for guys to, especially from a gamer perspective, when you got LeBron James on a team. So Rui has learned to be, a complementary piece. And that might be a good thing, but against 6'9", 6'10", 7'3" wingspan. He got a long wingspan too, by the way. Doesn't use it, but he's got it. Guys named Jalen, Jaden, or Jason. Last name, up to you. Rui becomes a liability. Those guys out hustle him, they out rebound him, they outplay him, and they D him up. And therefore, I'm putting Rui on the trade block. He's a decent contract. He's a hell of a shooter. He's got great mid range, hit the three from top and corner, and is becoming a better and better rebounder and becoming a better and better defender. Uh, put him on a team where he's the number two option and let him rip. And I'm going to be watching. I always watch former Lakers career. Lonzo Ball was interesting to me. That full court go ahead pass. I feel like LeBron did that more after playing with Lonzo Ball than he did before that. I think the whole Lakers offense was length of court passes when Ball was here, and it was very very exciting. With cool slicing, he doesn't slice as much anymore. He's a horrible walker, by the way. But I watched him too, and asked him on his Instagram account, man, please get your 3 point shot up, please. He's never shot more than 30, better than 33%. But I thought he was a talent, worth watching. Brandon Ingram grew into his own. I thought he really solved his problems as a Laker. His problems were at the rim where he just kept getting his shot blocked, just like Rui when he first got here. And then you figure out these guys are NBA players, and I can't just jump up there and just, do what I'm imagining in my mind. I got to have some game when I get to the rim. So Rui got a little bit better at it, but Brandon got much better at it. And then his pull-up game was just stellar. So I expect good things from him. I think he's in Toronto now. Anyway, but I watch former Lakers. I'll be watching former Laker Rui Hachimura next season because I don't think he can make it through the summer, or well, I guess we call it, the off season. I just don't see how he's not included in the trade package that gets us a big. I don't see how that's possible. Be great if they would take, Gabe and Vando and that guard that never played that was so hot in is it Shake Milton? And yeah, our odd collections of odds and ends and return us, a starting center. That'd be great, but it's just not that realistic. So I expect Rui to be gone. Thank you, Rui. You're very entertaining. You are a talent, and I wish you the best. I'll be watching you. I expect you to do big things somewhere else. Austin is probably the toughest decision for the Lakers. It's because he's got a great contract, which was a gift to the Lakers that he hand delivered. Um, well, it was assisted by San Antonio holding back on making him an offer. Everybody was scared the Lakers were going to match, so they didn't want to extend themselves. But you should have extended yourself to get a player like Austin. And so now we have him on a great deal. But if I'm Austin, I kind of regret signing that deal because that also makes you more tradable. Makes you more valuable to your franchise, but also more valuable to prospective suitors. And given how desperate we are to upgrade this roster, I think certainly Austin's on the trade block. But I think Rob's smart enough to know that you don't trade a player that's gotten better every year that he's been with our team, that no one expected to be as good as he is now. That's certainly an NBA starter. Whether or not he's a number three on a championship team remains to be seen until you win a chip. But can he be that guy? I believe in Austin. I do. If we ended up with Austin on this roster and fixed our problems, I'd be happy. I really love his game. I call him Fred Flintstone because he gets to stomping those feet before he takes off. I love his lean in. I love the contact. Doesn't work as well. Didn't work as well in the playoffs this year. But if they're not going to call it, I think the key is to more. He got so many calls in the regular season. I think like a superstar, he took his focus away from finishing. And a guy like him, you got to make the shot. Your goal is a 3 point play. If they, smack you hard to the ground, you still gotta. I'm still trying to get that shot up. Whereas Luka just starts dribbling the ball. He knows he's getting the call, and sometimes he doesn't, and it's embarrassing. But Austin can't become the guy that's relying on the refs. He's got to be the guy that's relying on his shot. And that means when you're getting battered, as you've pushed your way to the rim and you still got your momentum, you have to try to make that shot. And I think I see Austin getting better in the offseason. I think he knows exactly what he needs to work on. I think he's the kind of guy that, like Kobe, practices with intent. And that my buddies hate intent because it sounds like our generation was just randomly doing stuff and y'all came in here with intent to make things better. But we've always done things with intent. And so but when there's a way to practice in terms of not just working on drills, I play music. I could run scales, or I could know that there's a way that I need to get my fingers aligned so I can get to that ninth in a way that I'm still smooth with it. And I'll practice that until I get it right. That's how you um that to me is the greatest players to me go into the summer with a prioritized, focused agenda, as opposed to I'm just going to get in better shape. They're going to get better at the things that they got taken advantage of the last year. That's that we saw Kobe come back every year with a deeper bag, and that set the standard. Mike didn't have to do that because Mike was just that great at everything. But Kobe did, in my opinion, and he did it, and that's why for me he's a level higher than Mike, not in terms of greatness or anything like that, just in terms of where he sits in my basketball reference, because I relate to it more because I had to work for everything I have, and I feel like Kobe was talented, but he took his talent to another level with work. And that's the legacy that he left for all of us. And I think Austin looks like he could extend that, not extend Kobe's legacy, but extend the legacy of focused off-season work to become greater every year from this point forward. And given where he is now, that means that the ceiling for Austin could be that championship third piece, or things keep going on the current trajectory. Could he be that championship second piece? I see championship medal in Austin, and therefore I try everything I could to keep him, unless he was part of a deal that gets me Giannis. And obviously we're not getting Giannis, but who wouldn't make that move, right? So Austin is on the table, but you better come correct if you want it. That's the way I would think of it. Whereas Rui is almost like, yeah, of course, we know we have to get rid of Rui. Um, I love both players, but it's possible that neither are going to be part of our championship roster that we absolutely have to build now. Um, so when you look at the future, you really have to look at what Dallas had to see what it takes to give Luka a championship. And when you look at what Dallas had, I mentioned Kyrie, secondary ball handler, shooting guard. What more do you want? Well, you'd like him to be a little taller and play better defense. Yeah, and I'd like to win the lottery. That was a funny joke. Um, two really lively centers. Get it? Man, I'm just full of it today. And then the rest of the roster is all 40%, 6'9" long defenders that can shoot the three. They were stacked. And it was great. They got to the finals. When you get to the finals in the NBA, you have really accomplished something. So, um, should they have run it back? Probably. But I think Rico was looking at trends, and he saw something he didn't like. And they got access to data that you and I don't. And so he made his move, and either um, he'll get run out of Dallas this year when the team sucks, or they want to chip. I think those are the two options. All right. So for the future, we know what we need. We got to start with a center, a world-class center, and that's going to be a tall order. And then we need to supplement that center with some PJ Washington types, or anyone named Jalen, Jaden, or Jason, last name optional, 6'9" or above, 7 foot or above wingspan. We need 3 or 4 of those to compete in this league now, because everybody has 2 or 3 of them, except for us. We've got Vando out here throwing the ball out of bounds from the free throw line. All right. Before I finish, I want to talk a little bit about Rico. I mentioned that I would have done the same thing. Uh, Luka's deficits involve arguing with the referees, just like Bron. Sometimes he's trying to preserve energy. Uh, Obviously out of shape. The two block threes in a not in a row, but close to each other were indicative of that. And so I think I've said already all the things I want to say about Rico. I think the jury is still out, and if he was right, uh, then what fell into his lap? That's what we didn't get to, which was the draft. For him to have been through what he's been through, and then to come up with a 1.8% chance and win the lottery, um, interesting. And I've read that Maverick fans can't relax because he might trade the pick. But what would you trade Cooper Flag for? What would you get for that? It's an interesting question. What do they need? Well, the fact is they need exactly Cooper Flag. So if the only way you trade Cooper Flag is for a better Cooper Flag, but you need a shooting guard that's long, athletic, and plays defense. And if you get that, according to Rika's theory, you win the chip. Do you have time to wait for Cooper to develop, or do you look at his tape when he was playing the NBA players during Olympic time and see that he's ready now? So I think that's where you end up. I think Rico's taken enough risk in his career, so for him to move uh, Cooper for a win now player, I think that would be piling too much risk on top of risk. And so I expect them to draft Cooper Flag. I expect him to shine in summer camp, and I expect Dallas to be one of the top contenders in the West next year. And if they win a chip, uh, then a whole lot of Dallas fans owe him a huge apology because what he did will turn out to be the right thing. Now you say, well, he just got lucky. Well, everybody in the NBA faces the same odds and risks and luck and all that kind of stuff. And the fact is, you have to have the pieces already in place that you need to win, and then you have to make the moves necessary to win, and then you have to follow through on these great opportunities that fall in your lap. So, and then you have to have the team. I'm talking about staff, coaching staff, training staff, um, the conditioning staff, um, to build a winner out of a rookie. And there have been some suspect things with regard to Rico, especially when it comes to the training staff. Some things that Dallas fans have a right to be really thoroughly upset about, especially in light of his concept of the importance of conditioning. So we're going to see how all that shakes out very shortly here. But I'm kind of excited about Dallas because one of my former Lakers is there. You know, AD got us a chip. So it was not fun watching AD fall down after layups. It was not fun, sit waiting for AD to come back from injury. But the last few years, I've seen AD fight through injuries. I've seen him want to be on the court more than not. I've seen him be on the court more than not. I've seen him go for 40, but I've also seen him go for 7 or 12. And you go, what the heck, man? So AD is not the alpha. And that's the question in Dallas. Who's that alpha that finishes games? Kyrie can't take the pressure of being alpha. Kyrie was the designated alpha in uh, Boston. That was his trade preferred destination, running away from alpha dog Bron, whose presence is very heavy. Ask any Laker. Bron fills the entire locker room. You can't breathe in there. And so um, he wanted to get out. He wanted to be his own man. And then he went and started trashing his teammates and made himself expendable. Psychologically, I saw him pushing his way out of the pressure associated with being an alpha dog. So he goes to New Jersey, Brooklyn, whatever it is, and he starts off okay, but eventually um, trashed his teammates and starts saying crazy things. And all of that to me is crumbling under the mental pressure of being that alpha. Then he gets to Dallas, where the alpha was obvious. And then we started seeing, to me, some of Kyrie's best basketball while he was keeping his mouth shut. And that's his natural position. He won a chip with LeBron as the beta. He had a chance to win a chip with Luca as the beta. And now Luca's gone. He's not your alpha. Can a rookie be your alpha? I say yes. You know why? Because he's not on here, and that's because I'm still mad at him. Let's talk about that. I'm mad at Magic. What? How many more? Okay. Magic traded away Zuby. Imagine us with Zuby now. Just think about that. On we had a chance to keep Zuby on like $6 million rookie deal or something like that. We gave him away to our arch rival Clippers. He didn't have to change. He used the same parking pass. And not only did we give him away, we gave him away for Mike Musala. Musala? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows who he is? What's his name is? He's never done anything in the NBA ever. Ever. What was that about? And then after making that mess, you quit on us. You didn't even give Jeannie a chance to clean up the mess. Rob Pelinka talking smack about me. I don't like people talking smack about me. It made me angry. Okay. You can quit your own life. You do whatever you want to do. Your excuse is what bothers me. I thought you were really genuine when you said, I didn't want Jeannie to talk me out of it. What kind of sense does that make, man? You showed no loyalty to our organization. Um, if Rob is such a bad person, why would you leave him in charge of our franchise? If he's such a snake. And there's indications that Rob's got some snake-like characters, okay? Character. I mean, I was telling Donna, I don't think any other GM wants to deal with Rob. Um, Imagine being Kobe's agent. Kobe has some asshole-ish qualities, perhaps. So they worked in our favor. I never complained, but some of that rubbed off on his agent. And there probably have been deals that we could have gotten that we didn't get because Rob's in place. So he found one person that he's got a relationship with that he could deal with, and that's how we ended up with Luca. They seem to have a long friendship from his time as Kobe's agent and Rico's time as a Nike guy. So I'm mad at Magic, but he is the example of a rookie taking you to the finals. Not only did he take us to the finals, but he played center in game 6 and got 42 points. And I don't know how many rebounds and assists, but it was a lot. And the coolest thing about that was his decision to sit in Kareem's chair on the way to the game, on the flight to the game. Magic will make his way back to my wall. I'll get over it. He's one of the greatest Lakers of all time, but I'm still nursing my soreness over what he did to our team as an executive. Not very impressive at all. The fact that he sat in front of LeBron's house to make LeBron an offer, like LeBron was not going to take it. Like, what are you talking about? But ignored Paul George. I'm glad we don't have Paul George, but at the time we really needed Paul George. Who knows? We could have traded him for something by now, but no. So Paul George was not that guy. But at that time, man, it would have been nice to have Paul George. But we almost seemed like we kind of, Paul George felt insulted. Whether I feel like could you have sent Rob to sit in front of his house? And then you guys do a little FaceTime and say, hey man, I can't be there, but I just want you to know how important you are or something. But anyway, I just didn't feel like Magic was creative as a GM or president of basketball operations. I didn't like the way he left, and I'm still angry about it. All right, let's talk about the Laker roster. We talked about the future already, but it starts with what you got now. We talked about Rui and Austin. Talked a little bit about Vando. We talked about Gabe. We lost Doug Christie. What's left? In terms of rotation players, Jackson's out of here. Nobody else to talk about. which tells you that the Lakers roster is a hot mess around Luka. We did the best we could with LeBron and AD dominating the salary cap, but now Luka's coming in. He's getting ready to get paid. Bron is still here, and we're according to aprons, we have very little flexibility in terms of what we can do to make this team better. So we have to swing for the fences. And at this point, I'm not sure that going all in on a superstar to pair with Luka is the right thing to do. I think we really need pieces in terms of this offseason. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see how the Lakers turn out. I predict that Rui will be gone. I predict that we will end up with a decent center. Gafford is probably the best center I can imagine us having an angle to get based on the relationship and based on his sort of desire for a starting job, his uh, redundancy, um, and maybe some familiarity with Luca. Um, but then that leaves us kind of like short of the Dallas team that made the finals but didn't win it. So, do we have a chance to put a championship team on the field next year? On paper, my assessment would be no way. We will not field a championship team on with this roster and what this roster can turn into until you move on from the last guy that needs to be talked about that I haven't spoken on, which is LeBron James. Arguing with the refs, standstill defense. Better distributor. Seems to trust Luca, so better than he was, but it's hard to say. But LeBron is no longer a championship piece. Not at 52 to 54 million. Salary cap matters now, which means salaries matter now. So Donna hates it when I say, man, this guy 30 million, I expect more. She hates salary should have anything to do with the expectation of the player, and I disagree. Salary is all about, you know, that's roster construction now. It's about salary. You need some rookies to play out of their minds. You need some trades for some guys that were down in their luck who get a resurgence in LA. You need miracles these days. Um, we used to just go out and buy our way to a championship, and we can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore. Neither can Golden State. They did it recently, but those days, according to the second apron, are pretty much over. And so you have to be savvy now. And do we have enough flexibility where even a genius would be able to do it? I don't think so. So it's going to be another year before uh, we have a chance to make moves, and that presumes no extension for LeBron, which means what we need from LeBron in order for us to smoothly transition to the Luka era is a declaration of retirement this year, this offseason, so that he can have his tour, he can get his gifts from every team in the league, he can dominate the headlines for an entire season and then sail off into the sunset. And yeah, that's what I want. Thank you for listening, Laker fans. This is the Purple Blood Lakers podcast for Laker fans by Laker fans. Chime in the comments. I want to hear what you think. It's been a fun year. I'm still a Laker fan. I will be watching. And I hope I'm wrong.